Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today's question came from a phone call from a girl who wanted to know, Angela, I would like to do topless house cleaning, and I heard that you can make a whole lot more money than regular straight-up house cleaning. Do you recommend it? Now, this is a little bit sensitive of a subject because there's an entire industry that does scantily clad house cleaning. And so what we focus on at Savvy Cleaner is straight up house cleaning that is just house cleaning, a boring, everyday, good old house cleaning with a broom and a mop and regular fully clothed people. So there are a lot of things that we are not going to be able to say in today's show because we are a family-friendly show and there are terms and words that I cannot use. So I want you to use your wildest imaginations as we walk through a couple of possible scenarios. When you do topless house cleaning, you're putting yourself at risk for things you cannot control. And so I do not recommend it for the reasons we're about to discuss. Now, there's a disclaimer right at the front of this that I'm not judging you if you decide that this is the way that you want to go, because the truth is, yes, you can make more money than if you just have a regular house cleaning account and you just show up as a regular maid or housekeeper. The difference is you're raising the stakes of the game. And as you're raising the stakes of the game, you move into a territory where there are situations and circumstances that will be out of your control. And so in order to protect yourself, and I want to protect all of you, because this comes from a place of having been in the business of house cleaning, where even as a regular, everyday, average house cleaner, you still have to protect yourself. So this is, you're raising the stakes a whole lot higher because you're asking for a different clientele. The clientele you're going to get is a clientele that frequents nightclubs. And as you go to a nightclub and you dance, you have the protection of the nightclub behind you. And so if someone misbehaves or they get drunk or they start acting out of line and they make you uncomfortable, you have the club to back you up. And so there may be a bouncer, there may be somebody there who can jump in and intervene if you call for help. But if you put yourself in a similar situation, but you're in the privacy of someone else's home, you don't have the luxury of then calling for backup. So you're on your own. There are several circumstances and scenarios where women have done some topless house cleaning, and the result from that is, number one, you have to still clean house. At the end, the people still want their house clean. So cleaning house with a regular uniform on, which is something like this, you're going to sweat, it's going to be hot, you're going to have to move around, and you're going to have to actually clean. So imagine being on your hands and knees, and there are certain things that you're going to do to your body to be more enticing to the person that's watching you cleaning house. And so try to do a job like scrubbing the floor of a shower while you have your body arched in unique positions and you're wearing scantily clad or tight restrictive clothing in high-heeled shoes. So all the rules of the game just changed a little bit. And because you're working and you're trying to clean the house, you're going to get hot and sweaty, which you're still trying to look beautiful at the same time because you're putting on a show. And so it just raises the stakes a little bit higher. And it's harder to offer a satisfaction guarantee because let's suppose that you get interrupted during your chores for, let's say, perhaps an extra offer for extra money to do extra side projects. So in the process of that, let's say that you interrupted your house cleaning to do the extra side projects and you have to make a decision, where do you draw the line? When you're in a nightclub, there are lines and parameters that are drawn. They are in stone and all of the customers that show up know that. So when you show up to clean a house and you have a customer and it's just you against them, now you're negotiating all of the time. So they could say, well, I'll give you X amount more money if you do X amount more side projects. Okay, well, that gets a little bit frustrating because you're there because you need the money. And the sad part is, the honest to goodness truth is, the women that do this are very good women. A lot of them are single moms. They're trying to put food on the table. They're trying to just survive and provide a living by whatever means is possible. This is a means that has proven successful for them, and so they choose this line of work. And so it gets really frustrating when you say, no, these are my boundaries and I'm not going any further than this, when someone is trying to toss money at you. But every time they toss money at you and every time you break that boundary down just a little bit, you raise the stakes of the game. Then it makes it harder for you to say no next time. And is this going to be a recurring client, or is this going to be a one-off gig? Because if this is just a one-time gig and you have gone so far down a rabbit hole in your negotiations that you don't feel comfortable coming back, then you're going to constantly be looking for new business. So as they say in the industry, it's easier to make a fast nickel than it is a slow quarter. And so what I mean by that is your regular, everyday routine house cleaning clients that you just go in and you sweep and mop and dust and all the regular things as a fully clothed house cleaner. That would be your fast nickel. Those are recurring clients. That's regular business. That's going to happen every week or every 2 weeks based on a schedule. It's based on a really specific industry. The other industry is going to change all of your marketing, and it's going to change the way that you work. Because if you're really smart about this, you're going to have your own bouncer or your own security that you can call on a moment's notice in case things get out of hand. You're going to have to pay somebody as your backup. Another thing is your marketing is going to be completely different. So instead of being able to advertise on Nextdoor and whatever to these regular everyday people, now you're going to Craigslist and you're going to some fringe outlets in order to market your business, because this is not the norm. And so it not being the norm, you are going to have to get very creative with your marketing. And yes, you will have referrals and you will have word of mouth, but then also you have to look further down the road. There are historically bad situations that come from women putting themselves in situations that are frightening, that are unsafe, that are dangerous. And so you have to protect yourself from that. And you have to start thinking far enough in advance. Do you have protection with you? And that might be logical protection, and it might be something even like a firearm. Do you have something with you that you can pull yourself out of a bind if you need to? And I don't recommend taking a firearm ever to a customer's house. But if you have to hire a bouncer or you have to hire your own security, they need to be prepared to bail you out in case something really bad happens. You still have all of the rules and regulations of regular house cleaning. Like when you get there, you still have to do a walkthrough. And your walkthrough is going to be a little bit different from an average house cleaner, because this is not just a walkthrough, show me your hot buttons in this house so that I can make sure that I clean them properly. But now you're looking, is there someone else that's hiding in this house? Am I putting myself in a situation that it's not just the person I think I'm speaking to, but it could be multiple people in here that could actually cause me harm? And so there are a bunch of things that you have to think about. And I get this question frequently. You wouldn't suspect that this is a common question, but it is. And because it is, that's why we're having this conversation right now. I do believe that everybody deserves a clean house. And so I think that house cleaning is an awesome business, obviously, because I chose this for my profession. I also believe that as women, we need to protect ourselves. And this is also for men. I said women, but this is also for men. We need to protect ourselves. We need to respect ourselves. We need to realize that there are valid ways of making money where you can hold your head high and not put yourself in a dangerous situation every time you show up to clean a house. And although it might be fast money, compared to what? If you lose your life in the process, was it worth the extra few $100s you might make? My answer is no. If you put yourself in a situation where you go home and you cry at night and you hate yourself because of what you have to do in order to earn an honest living, is it worth the self-esteem? It's not. It's not, because you have to live with yourself forever. You have to live with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, every year for the rest of your life. And while I understand the woes of trying to provide for a family and trying to protect yourself, sometimes the wisp of the quick buck is not the best way to go. And so if you've decided to do this as a profession, I'm going to strongly encourage you to try to think through the possible scenarios all the way down the line and find a safeguard at every stop so that you don't one day find yourself in an odd situation and then have no idea how you're going to get out of it. And by that, I mean when you walk into a person's house and you're doing that initial walkthrough, you need to be looking for exits. If something happens, is there a window I can jump out of? What does that window lead to? Is there a tree there, or do I fall 2 stories to the ground? If I'm in high heels, how is that going to end up? Am I going to bust my ankle on the way down? Is there a stairway in the back of the house that I can run down if I need to? And you have to start looking at alternative exits. Where's the back door? Is there a side door? Does the side door lead to the garage or does it lead straight outside? So your antennas have to go up and you're playing a completely different game than if you're just regular house cleaning. Now, the truth is you can make a lot of money in regular house cleaning. And so if I have a choice, and if you call me on the phone and we have this conversation, because this happens, like I said, frequently, I'm going to tell you this exact same scenario because I want you to be here in 5 years from now. If house cleaning is what you choose, I want you to be here in 10 years from now. I don't want to get a rumor that you've died somewhere in someone's basement because something went awry while you were on a house cleaning job. So my answer to you is, can you do it because it's quick money? Yes, you can. That's your personal choice. And like I said, I'm not judging you, but I do want you to be aware of the risks that are involved when you choose that and you put yourself in a situation where you cannot control the outcome. All right, that's my tip for today. I hope that helps. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.